Hi guys, I'm Kayla with Artistic Religion, and this is Makeup and Motivation. Booyah! I am back. It feels so good to be back after taking a break for almost a year of filming. Even though when I was filming, I only filmed for like not even a year, but it feels good to be back because I really do feel like this is part of my ministry. This piece today that I'll be reading is really exciting to me because it's fresh on me. I finished writing it up this morning, so it's really fresh on me and I'm excited about it. I feel like it's a really good word. So basically I sit down, do my makeup. I don't talk about the makeup, but if you are interested in the products that I'm using, everything is listed down in the description box. But I read a piece of encouragement, whether I wrote it 5 years ago, yesterday, and like I said, in this case, it was finished up this morning. So it feels good to be back, and I am excited about this. I am using a new little tripod, who is a finicky little dude, so if you kind of start dipping sideways, that is why. It has been a little booger to get how I want it. But I am getting ready to go to a photo shoot, so this will be my makeup that I'm wearing to go to work. So it is a get ready with me, but we're not talking about anything but Jesus, which is exciting. So if that sounds interesting to you, just keep on watching. Today's piece is titled A Season of Silence, Cultivating a Relationship with Jesus. I have found myself speechless, in a sense. As someone who can put everything into words and eloquently lay them across pages and pages, I have simply found myself out of season. They say nothing blooms all year round, and I suppose that's true even for me. But rather than rambling on about my dormancy, I have decided it's finally time to bloom. At the beginning of the year, I asked God to give me a word for the new year. Nothing came to me. I continue to ask, Lord, please give me a word for the new year. Something to focus on. And there it was. Silence the noise. You see, I'm someone whose mind is constantly going in a million different directions. I'm concocting ideas, mentally checking off my to-do list, daydreaming about the future, feeling anxious about every decision, and lack of productivity of the day. I could keep going on, but you get the idea. I am constantly, my mind is a twirling, always. My mind is loud, and being surrounded by noises can send me into this overwhelming sensation of just overload. When I received that word, I immediately turned off the TV, sat down in silence, beautiful silence. It's hard to hear from God when your ears and mind are listening to everything else. It's hard to hear from God when you're so focused on everything else in life and you don't give yourself quiet time, you don't give yourself time to just listen. Or even the way you pray, if you're praying, constantly begging God for blessings, not praying in thanksgiving and worship and just talking in that way, you've got to have it in a way of communication. You have to give like a conversation of going back and forth. It can't just be demand after demand after demand. And I don't know about you, but I'm bad about that. I'm bad about treating God like Santa Claus, like this wish list. Let me just give you my wish list of all these things that I would like you to do for me. Thanks, could you get on that? That's something that I have been really working on. And I know a while back I asked my mom and sister to fast with me for I think 2 weeks, where we did not pray for ourselves. We took turns praying for each other and interceding for each other. And just to kind of get a sense of like, hey, let's not treat God like this genie who grants us all of our wishes. Let's pray for each other instead. Let's not pray for things that benefit us. Let's just take our focus off of me, and put it towards others. And thanking God and really being mindful of the way we communicate towards God. But strangely enough, I also entered into a season of pause with writing. No words, nothing to write down. And this was a very unusual season for me because this is how I've always connected in my spiritual walk with Jesus, is by writing. So to not have word to write down was weird for me. It was very strange. I can't say that I loved it because that's my thing. I love to write, and that's how I communicate with God a lot, and I feel a lot of my growth is from writing. So it was just a little different. I got that concealer all on my eyebrow. So with that, it caused my relationship to evolve. When I sit down in the mornings to read, I envision Jesus sitting on my couch in the living room across from me, usually next to my dog who is laying down for his late morning naps. I envision Jesus being in the room with me. And that has caused things to change. That has sparked a different sort of relationship with God, to just imagine him there, because he is there. And we know this as growing up in church, we know that God is always there. He's omnipresent, you know. But to really sit down and envision him sitting in your living room as a friend, that has sparked a different sort of relationship for me. There's a couple songs that also sparked this newfound friendship with Jesus. The Commission by Kane and Talking to Jesus by Elevation Worship and Maverick City. Both of these songs put into perspective the tangible reality that a genuine friendship can be formed. I highly recommend listening to both of those songs. They're very good. And just watching these people sing and their light sparking up when they talk about Jesus or when they sing about Jesus, you see that genuine love in these people, and that just really, it opened my eyes to a different form of a relationship with God. You are my friends if you obey my commandments. I don't call you servants anymore because a servant doesn't know what his master is doing. But I've called you friends because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You didn't choose me, but I chose you. I have appointed you to go to produce fruit that will last, and to ask the Father in my name to give you whatever you ask for. Love each other. This is what I'm commanding you to do. If the world hates you, realize that it hated me before it hated you. If you had anything in common with the world would love you as one of its own. But you do not have anything in common with the world. I chose you from the world, and that is why the world hates you. That's John 15:14 through 19. That's the God's word translation. As a child of God, we often feel like outcasts. I know I do. And I have the majority of my life feeling like an outcast from the world. I think that's how we're supposed to feel. And that's hard as a young person coming up, because it doesn't feel right to you. You feel like something's wrong with you, but we're supposed to be set apart. And that's something that I encourage you, those of you who have teenagers, young preteens coming up, to explain the fact that we're not called to be like the world. And that's something that I appreciate. I grew up knowing that, but it's just, you have to come into acceptance of that in your walk with God at some point in your life. But that's important to teach your kids, is for them to know that if they're going to be upstanding individuals who serve God, who love God, there's going to be a level of not being accepted by many people. I've always felt separated from other people. Even as a little kid, it was hard for me to maintain friendships or pick people who wouldn't hurt me and had good intentions. Who can relate? Friendships were always a struggle for me. For years of my life, it left me feeling absolutely heartbroken. I craved friendships, and I didn't know what was wrong with me and why it was so hard or ended up in a terrible experience. I know so many of you can relate to that you want friends and you crave that connection, but it just doesn't work out for you. This season of my life has been desperately needed, and I didn't even realize it. I'm so thankful for silencing the noise so I can tend to a real friendship with Jesus. I used to struggle with understanding how we could have a relationship with God. He seems so far away and quiet, but I finally reached the point in my life where I get it and I have it. You have to be willing to read the Word, study, pray, listen to encouragement and teachings from other people, worship, and make your environment welcoming, in the sense of not watching and listening to filth, burning sage, evil eye items, tarot cards, having crystals for the purpose of whatever. These things hinder you from having a beautiful relationship with Jesus. Not that the presence of the Lord can't overcome these things. He's still present during all of these spiritual experiments and sin. It's just that New Age spirituality and Christ don't mix. The more we muddle up the way, the truth, and the life, the more we suppress Jesus. And if we're constantly suppressing him, there can be no friendship. But that's not a conversation a lot of you are probably ready to have. But it will be an upcoming video in more detail. But just know that the line between witchcraft and Christianity is getting very thin because we are muddling it up. We're mixing them together. And as a new believer, that can look very confusing, and it can be very enticing to dabble with things you don't need to dabble with. And you might just not know better, but I'm here to tell you those things are not for us. 1 Timothy 2:5-6, for there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Jesus Christ, who gave himself as ransom for all, which is the testimony given at the proper time. We should want to form a connection with the mediator between God and us. He's our lifeline to hope and the truest, most caring friend we could ever have. It's possible and you're capable. You simply just have to be willing to put in effort and open up your heart to meet Jesus wherever you're at. John 15:13, greater love hath no man than this, than a man that lay down his life for his friends. And through the death, burial, and resurrection, we have the greatest form of love ever extended, and the truest friend that we could ever imagine, Jesus. So, if you don't have a friendship with Jesus, and you want one, and you don't know how to get it, because you just feel like I have felt over the years, like God just seems so far away, he seems so quiet, I highly, highly recommend trying the things that I said. Pray, study, read God's word, familiarize yourself with the history and the memories of Jesus. These are stories that are beautiful. I just read through the Gospels, and just reading through the adventures that Jesus had while he walked this earth really sparked just an interest in him, his life, how he dealt with people, and having an interest in someone, listening to them, not suppressing them by just giving them your demands, having an open heart to just getting to know someone. Even in life, that's how you form a connection. That's how you form a friendship. And we treat God like he's just so unhuman, but he walked in skin. He walked in the flesh. He walked in inconveniences and injuries, and he can relate to us in that aspect. So envision him as a friend. Envision him as a friend who is sitting in your living room, right there with you, watching you do whatever you do, going about your daily life, tending to your errands, your responsibilities, going to your job, sitting next to your dog while he takes a nap on the couch. Envision him as the friend who is there with you, because he is there. He's always there through every stage of our life, through every mistake we make, through every wonderful thing we do, through laughing, crying. He's always there. And I think that's how you spark a relationship. That's how I sparked a relationship. And I finally feel like I have a satisfying friendship that I've always wanted. I don't have that longing for friendship that I could never achieve anymore, because I have a friendship now. I have a friendship that I have always wanted, and some people will look at me like I'm crazy for this. But this is the reality of being a child of God. And I don't feel like enough people talk about this, that we can have a real deal relationship with Jesus, that we can love him genuinely, and even though we don't see him, he is there, and he cares for us more than anybody you have ever known, and he loves you more than anybody you have ever known. And we just don't give him the time of day, and it's heartbreaking because he's right there. And you just need to stop with the demands. And I'm not saying don't pray for things you need and that you want, but it has to be balanced out with just being thankful and worshiping and blessing the Lord. Bless you, Lord. Bless you, Lord. That's something that you can whisper throughout your day or just simply think, and it makes such a big difference. I want you guys to feel the relationship that I feel. I want you to have that, because when you have that, it makes relationship with other people less important, less like I'm just hanging on by a thread that I need someone to talk to. I need someone to go do things with. You feel secure and confident because you have someone. And I feel this way for the first time in my life, and it's something that I have always wanted to feel. And to have it now is so precious. And like I said, you're capable of it. You just have to work for it, no different than any other relationship. So that is it for today's video. I feel like I ran through that. Like, that was just really like quick. I don't know. I feel like I kind of gauged it wrong with like my makeup. It's been a while since I've sat down and filmed. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you feel the presence of the Lord, and I hope you feel loved, because you are precious and wonderful and have value and are worthy of a purpose. And if you are suppressing your purpose, if you are ignoring your purpose, I hope that something happens where you can ignore it. And I hope you are thrusted into your path, and that you know, it's not sink or swim, because you'll swim. Keep your eyes on Jesus and you'll swim. You won't drown. So just be motivated today. Go forward. Ready for the day. Ready for whatever comes your way. And be conscious. And be aware that Jesus is there. That rhymed. Anywho, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to be notified when I post, hit the bell. Other than that, you can check out some videos that are a year old. They're still good. Give them a shot. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next one, which is going to be not a year from now. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.